Mad Dragon's Punch. Mad Dragon's Punch. Mad Dragon's Punch. That's the way we became the Mad Dragon's Punch. Come on, Dragons fans! Fire up!
Well, g'day Dragons fans and welcome to the Mad Dragons podcast, brought to you by Complete Warehouse Solutions, a family-owned and operated business with more than 100 years of combined experience. Jeff and his team are more than pleased to assist in your Sydney warehouse refurbishment or fit-out project. Based on Commerce Drive in Lake Illawarra, get in touch with the team on 42571930. Well, I said all last week that we would beat Melbourne and then lose to Para. I didn't want to be right, but this result did not surprise or shock me one bit. I was far more nervous against the Eels than I was for the Storm game. We have been more consistent than ever under Shane Flanagan. The gap between our best and our worst is vast. I think the gap between our best and our worst is bigger than it was under Griffin, Mary, or Price. Now, our best might be better than it was under those three coaches, but I think our worst is as bad as it has ever been. It will be a roller coaster season where you will never know which version of our team will show up. We're likely to lose at home to the Titans next week and then show up and beat Manly at Fortress Brookvale, although it wasn't so much a fortress today. I'm sure Hasman will take the weak option of blaming it all on Sutton, but let's see if he surprises me.
There ain't nothing but heroes and villains, more villains than heroes. What can you tell? What from the next? Can you go down from zero? There ain't nothing but heroes and villains, more villains than heroes. All lined up from the east to the west, black and moon or an infinite shift.
He's on mute. He's on mute.
All right, this is probably going to be the shortest heroes and villains I've ever done. And this one's entitled, What Have the Greeks Ever Given Us? Which will probably give you an idea as to who I'm going after. What in the actual hell was that? 12 points up and we losing golden point to a field goal from the one bastard we didn't want to get it. How much did Para pay Sutton for that performance, I wonder? Didn't get a call right all bloody game. Now, Badger didn't do much better. She cost us a try ruling Sloane was out. It was simultaneous at absolute worst. Gutho was great. The forwards were all right. But the biggest disappointment, as has been the case all year so far, is Lachlan Ilias, the Greek god of sweet FA. Now, I can see why South got rid of him. He's the most third-rate halfback I've ever seen. Can we send him back to Redfern? Seriously, he's done nothing so far this year and doesn't even look close to doing anything. As I said, it's going to be a short one this week because I'm way too pissed off to say much. So King Gutho is the hero and Ilias, the Greek god of sweet FA, is the villain, along with Sutton Badger. Back to you, Donnie, in the central missionary position.
Yeah, well, short and not very sweet. That was kind of bitter. All right, let's introduce the panel that we've got on tonight. It's basically a reserve grade lineup. Pretty much nobody that was scheduled to come on is on tonight, so we've had to call up a lot of late inclusions. Me and Hasman, the only first graders in the team, and coming off the reserves bench, we've got Jesse, Liam, and after Billy the Kid suffered an unfortunate syndesmosis injury in the warm-up, we've had to call in our 18th man, Benny O'Brien. Welcome, Benny. Late call-up, mate. Thanks for answering the call.
No, all good, mate. All good. Yeah, I don't mind jumping on every now and again. I'm a busy man these days, but always got a bit of time for you, mate.
Oh, beautiful. I love you too, mate.
Someone has to.
Swear, buddy.
All right.
Billy's out more than bloody Hame Saleh. He's
Yeah.
absolutely hopeless, that kid.
Yeah, I was
Well,
going
no,
to say mid-teens probably our Arme Sele.
I was going to say, what about Tony? He hasn't been on at all.
Yeah, well, he was another late scratching. All right, this week our Mad Dragons Vodcast Player of the Year, our 3 votes. I don't think this will come as any surprise to anybody. That went to Clint Gutherson. It was unanimous across the 11 panel members, every single person giving the 3 votes to Clint Gutherson. 2 votes went to Toby Couchman. That one was pretty clear as well. And then the 1 vote, there were 8 other players that got votes. So pretty much anybody could have ended up as the 1 vote for the Mad Dragons Vodcast panel, but finishing 3rd overall in the voting was Valentine Holmes. All right, moving into some moments of the match. I'll go to you. Is Jesse there?
No, he's having a bit of technical issues, Donny.
Jesse's having some dramas.
I think he's here just on audio.
Yeah, he's dropped off altogether now. So he's disappeared. So we'll go to you, Liam. So multicultural round. We'll bring this up. So this is the Dragons sort of going through their heritage. One that surprised me a bit was that we had 4 players with German heritage. It got me thinking, how would a German team fare at full strength in a World Cup? Because I'm sure there's other good players in our comp with some heritage. What do you reckon?
I reckon it's pretty good, Donny. Reaching over to Germany. Wow, that is surprising, which I did not see coming at all.
Yeah, so both the Couchman brothers, Tommy Eisenhuth and David Klemmer, all with German heritage. That's
and
just
Tom
for the Dragons.
Eisenhuth as well.
That was the second one that I named.
So you got the Ryan Couchman twins. So the Couchman twins, sorry. Tom Eisenhuth and David Klemmer all have German heritage. And I don't know who's the other one that has German heritage. You said 5 apparently.
I think it's probably the Eisenhuth twins, the Couchman brothers. Probably all the ones that Donnie just said 2 minutes ago is good.
Yeah.
And the ones at the graphic right there. So, yeah, they're the ones.
Yeah.
Big Clem dog.
Couple of Greeks in there too.
What the fuck all Ilias, which should be shipped back to Redfern. He was absolutely shit for us.
We've got a few questions about Ilias, so I might bite my tongue for the time being on that little comment. But I'll go to you, Benny. Do you think we could make multicultural round a bigger deal at our club, or is there too many theme rounds already?
I think, mate, it's just my opinion, but I think a lot of people ride on their heritage and stuff, and I think, mate, we're all Aussies, and yeah, be proud of your heritage, but I don't really know what it's got to do with rugby league week in and week out. I think any player from anywhere should be blessed to be able to play in the NRL, and to make a big deal of it, I don't know, mate, it doesn't sit well with me. I think we need to just get back to playing football and stop worrying about all these. We've probably got half the rounds in the comp, or women's in league round and multicultural round, Indigenous round. It's just getting silly, mate. Let's just play footy, eh? That's what I reckon.
Well, what we need is a stop stuffing around. That's what we need.
We need a winning round. That's what we need.
We need more than one. We have one. Hopefully we have a few more.
I would have said something else if we were on a little bit later, but there's probably still kiddies watching. So
yeah, no, I do agree with you, Benny, to an extent. I have often thought though you look at the Illawarra region, but there's a lot of talk about wanting to engage with that St George area, and if you look at the demographics of that area, I wonder if there's any value in looking at some sort of Chinese-inspired sort of design for a jersey. Red's a very important colour in Chinese culture. The dragon's very important. Surely we're the perfect club to be able to engage that community, and that's a big part of who lives in that St George area. I know at the moment they don't give a rat's ass about rugby league.
I'm sure a lot of our Chinese players will appreciate that, Donny.
Well, it's not about players, though. It's about bringing new fans to the club. But who gives a shit about?
Yeah, but that's where I don't agree with it. That, like you said, it's about bringing fans to football. It's not about, this is all marketing. It's all marketing and media.
Yeah.
So it's got fuck all to do with the game of rugby league in its pure essence. This is all marketing and media, and it's just like same with the jerseys. Like if we bought every single jersey that they bring out every year for all these different rounds, everyone would be bloody broke, and that's all it is. It's just sales and marketing and media. That's what I don't like about it. Like, let's just stick to football, Like
I am bloody broke, mate, because of that exact reason.
That's it.
All right, well, Hazman, we've lost Jesse for the night, so we're down to just 12 on the field. We don't have any left on the bench, so we're hard up against it for the rest of the show. So the Dragons, for the first time in a while, went in 1-17 as named on Tuesday, but the Eels made a peculiar change an hour before kickoff with prop/lock Charlie Geimer going to dummy half with Riley Smith reverting to the bench. Can you make any sense of this to
me? Honestly, no. I'm at a complete loss. I can't work half this shit out sometimes.
Yeah, no, it was certainly a strange time. It didn't seem to hurt him too much. I think there was one poor pass that he threw from dummy half, and that was about it. I guess they were trying to tighten up that middle third defensively in the early going. I don't know why anyone would be scared about our forwards going through the middle third of the field, though. We don't do that, so it seemed kind of redundant. But
Walker probably would have if he'd been given a bit more bloody time. And what's the point if you're only going to give him bloody 19 minutes?
I think that's a very, very fair question with regards to Blocker, mate. I don't think there's no point. There's no point in Blocker unless he's playing 50+ minutes.
Well, Fredo doesn't know how to use his bloody bench. We've already seen that in the last 4 rounds alone. He's got no fucking idea.
Yeah. I think it's again. The biggest thing for me with the bench is that he seems to go in with a plan as to how he's going to use the bench, and that's it. He doesn't alter it with regards to what's going on in the game. Like, look at Jacob Little, 50th minute every single game. That's when Jacob Little comes on. He doesn't alter that plan based on what's happening out on the field. He doesn't look around and say, geez, you're starting to get tired through the middle of the field. Maybe now would be a good time to inject Jacob Little. It's just looks at his watch. There's only 47 minutes gone. We better hold him back for another few minutes. And 50th minute every game, that's when he comes on. Like, it just doesn't, there's no thought that goes into it.
It's dumb, especially in a game like yesterday. Like, Little, in all the games this season, as soon as Little's come onto the field, he's created things. He's been faster around the ruck. His service has been quicker. He's been scooting, creating opportunities, fresh legs, targeting slow forwards. Like, why aren't they bringing him on 15 minutes before half time and giving him a crack? Just go out 15 minutes, play as hard as you can, give Cook a little bit of a breather. Get Cook off. He's a co-captain. Have a little debrief with the coach and the coaching staff. Put Little on and just let him go crazy for 15 minutes before half time. Like, I don't know why they're not doing it. Or let him open the second half. You know what I mean? Get on the front foot early. Like, we know Little is the sort of player that can create things out of nothing, and we're not utilising him at all. It's just fucking stupid. I don't know why we're doing it.
Yeah.
Can I jump in and say something, Donny?
No.
Go, mate.
Yeah, I agree with the rest of the panel. The bench usage was absolutely bonkers. I don't know why Shane Flanagan. Yeah, I agree with the Jekyll Goodell. He should be brought on with like for half the game or within like 15 to 20 or 30 minutes before half time and even full time. He should be our starting hooker.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's, well, I don't know about starting, but I actually really like Benny's idea, 10, 15, even 5 minutes before half time, just get him on, tell him to go on for the last 5 minutes of the half and have 3 runs. Every time there's a quick play of the ball, I want you to go. I want you to test them out in around that middle third, test out their A defender, make them have to close down that space. Like, give him a task to go out there and absolutely try and tear them apart in that last 5 minutes before the break. Because Big T says it all the time. Last 5 minutes before halftime, we can see tries all the time. Because like we've got fatigue and teams exploit that. Why aren't we doing the same thing back?
Yeah, silly. It's silly. It's like you said, Flanagan has his interchange plan and he doesn't deviate from it. And it's silly because you got to adapt to the game and you got to utilise your bench. You look at Penrith, all the top teams, they utilise their bench. Melbourne especially, like they'll read the game, they'll see what's going on and interject players as they're needed, not necessarily by a plan, And I think we're definitely worse off for it. For the way Flanagan utilises interchange, it's just not working. Anyway, what else can I say?
All right, we'll try and get back to the agenda. I'll go to you, Hasman. Let's kick it off with Clint Gutherson. We'll start with a positive. This bloke, as I said, unanimously voted by the panel as our best. Me personally, I had him for 3 votes, and I didn't want to give anybody else a vote. I thought he deserved all 6. Talk us through his performance and what he tried to do for the team.
Well, I mean, he scored 2 tries for a start, so I mean, you can give him the 6 points just for that. But look, he's very safe under the high ball. Like Tyrell Sloan at fullback might be a better option for us in attack, but every time a bomb goes up with Tyrell Sloan at fullback, I get nervous. I don't get that with Gutherson. He's safe as a house under the high ball. Did not drop a single one, I don't think, yesterday. And he's got that sort of bit of mongrel about him. Like he loves getting excited. Like he clearly loves the team. Couldn't quite sort of get us up yesterday, but it was good to see him get a couple of tries against his old mob, even though it didn't come good. But look, he's definitely a leader. He deserves the captaincy, although I think his right to captain's challenges should be stripped from him immediately.
Yeah, well, that's the next question. I'll go to you with that, Liam. So before the try, Gutho, he had an amazing game. He's the man responsible for our captain's challenge. The last 2 weeks, he's lost it inside the opening 10 minutes with awful challenges. He seems an emotional guy, Gutho. Do we need to give the power of the captain's challenge to a player that's a little bit more calm and level-headed, do you think?
Yes, because, as we all seem to know, Clint Gutherson is not the best at captain's challenges, even coming from Parramatta. He's never had a good record of getting a single captain's challenge right to go his way. So, I think we should offload to someone else like Jack DeBellin or Damien Cook.
I do think we need I do think we need a fact checker on that stat that he's never got a single one right in his entire career. I don't think that's correct. But I did hear last week that he has the worst record of any captain in the NRL. So that I think he has got some right. He has traditionally not been very good at it. That was a poor challenge, and there was a couple of other opportunities where it would have been nice to have one where there was a questionable call that went against us. But
we'll get our Dave Middleton of the panel to search it up. Jesse, search it up, mate.
Jesse's the middo, is he?
Yep.
Don't know if he knows
search it
that.
up, Jesse.
Jesse either knows things or he doesn't. I don't know whether he's really the middo that's got his finger on the pulse of the search key, but we'll see how he goes. I think it might have been Jesse that said that he had the worst in the league. All right, Ben, I want to talk about offloads. First try, the try to Gutho came after multiple offloads in the one play, one from DeBellum and then one from Holmes. Do you think the Dragons should be looking to create more second phase play, or is it too risky and we should only be looking to do that in the attacking area?
I've been saying it for years, mate, that we need more second phase play. We don't have the forwards to just create meters up the middle, like you were saying earlier. We don't have those sort of forwards that consistently make 15 to 20 meters, and bust through the line. So we've got to rely on second phase play to make meters. Like you look at our average set, it'd be 35 to 50 meters if we're lucky. That's not enough. So that's second phase play, even if it's an extra 15 or 20 meters over a set, like that puts us into a kicking position, an attacking kicking position. So I think it's crucial for our team. Plus, like we've got speed out wide, so why not utilize it? And we have players like DeBellum that can get an offload. Clemmer should be good for an offload. He's big, he's tall, rangy. Even Couchman, like I said, they're not the sort of battering ram forwards that other teams have. So we have to look at hitting spins, breaking the line, looking for offloads, second phase play, going wider off the ruck, getting away from the middle, getting away from the markers. We've got to utilise those parts of our game, and it's going to pay dividends, but we've got to do it consistently. This is the whole thing, and we don't. We do it for sections, or one player will do it and others won't. But we have to make it part of our game, I think.
Yeah, Peter V adds in there in the comments. They play better unstructured, and when they throw the ball around, they're a lot less predictable. So, that's he's agreeing with what you said there, Benny. I totally agree as well. I think there needs to be a lot more emphasis on trying to create some second phase play. Sticking with the offload theme, Toby Couchman had 3 offloads in this game. He was the only player with multiple offloads. Another 70-minute performance in the middle. Do we need more Toby Couchmans, or do we need a different type of player to complement the work that he's doing?
We need to clone Couchman about 3 or 4 times, I think. We are not getting enough offloads, and that's absolutely killing our attackers. There's absolutely no second phase beyond what he does. So, no, absolutely, we need to clone him about 1,000 times.
Yeah. I love Toby Couchman. I think he's a fantastic player, but I think we need somebody like he's that high work rate player, but he's not an impact player, as Benny's pointed out just before. I think we need that impact player. David Clemmer used to be that kind of player. Emre Gul is big enough to be that sort of player, but again, neither of them are quite measuring up to that requirement. I don't think we have.
We need to Payne Haas or someone like that. Payne Haas or something. I can see Loco becoming that. That I think that we need to get him into the fray somehow. Like I don't think that he's still a bit young, a bit immature, but I think the only way he's going to get first grade experience is playing first grade, and I think it's almost time to start bringing him in and start blooding him in first grade. I really think it's time. Like Clemmer, I don't know. He doesn't really offer that much to me. Like he's doing a job, but same with Gula. Gula hasn't been anywhere near as good as I would have liked him to. But I get it. He's not that sort of forward. He's not an impact forward, but we need an impact forward, and I think Loco's going to be the one to do it for us. So I don't know why Flanagan's not starting to bring him in, because he's doing well in reserve grade, and he's big enough and strong enough and fit enough. So I don't know why he's not getting a crack.
So as Bullock and Laurie, I don't see him being in too much longer.
Well, you're not Shane Flanagan, though. You wouldn't have had Blake Laurie in the team to begin with. So just because you don't see it doesn't necessarily mean Shane Flanagan doesn't see it. So I think that's
But Blocker's not unlike Blocker's not unlike any of our other forwards. He does a job. That's it. That's
Yeah.
all our forwards do is they go and do a job. And I've said it 100,000 times. Anybody who says the Blocker's shit has no idea about football because they don't see all the work that Blocker does off the football. And yeah, unless you actually go to games and watch all the work that he does, yeah, it's hard to comment on someone like Blocker because yeah, he does a
I was
lot
going to
of
say, Benny. I was going to say he's a good defender. Attacker, on the other hand, he's not so good at.
Yeah, but he's not that much worse than any of our other forwards.
Hmm.
He doesn't make 6 meters less than any of our other forwards on a run. All our forwards are averaging 8 to 10 meters a run. No one's up around 15, 20 meters a run. He could probably run it a bit more, but he does a shitload of work defensively. He does a shitload of work off the ball. Every time there's a kick, he's the one chasing and putting pressure on the kicker. You know, that's his job. So he's doing a lot of meters. I reckon if you put a tracker on Blocker, he would be doing a shit ton of meters off the ball. He'd be doing more meters off the ball than what he would on the ball. And it's all part of the game. It's all putting pressure on the kicker. It's all slowing down the defense. It's getting in their face, putting pressure on. He does a lot of that work, and everyone puts shit on him because they don't see him making 5,000 hit-ups and making 300 meters. But he's doing a shitload of work.
I'll tell you, Benny, like, everyone's loving Toby Couchman and what he's doing at the moment. I see a lot of Blocker in what Toby Couchman does. Like, I see him running a lot of those decoy runs. I see him making those extra efforts in plays. And I think Blocker's had a fair bit to do with his development because his work rate is quite similar to what Blake Laurie does out there. You know, a lot of that off the ball stuff that goes unnoticed. And, you know, for whatever reason, Toby seems to get the plaudits for it.
Yeah, but Blocker did as well 3, 4, 5 years ago. He was the fresh one. He was the new blood. Everyone was excited about it. Blocker's just had a bad couple of years. Like I still am adamant that he had a bad preseason 2 years ago. He came in injured off an injury last season, and he just hasn't been able to get back to peak fitness. And with Blocker, he relies on his fitness. Like I met Blocker. It would have been probably 2.5 years ago in the preseason. I played a round of golf and he was playing on the same course and he was half the size that he is at his playing weight, half the size. So he bulks up massively to make weight to play the season, you know, and his fitness is affected by that. So if he's 4, 5, 6 kilos off his playing weight when the season starts, he's never going to get that back on. You are never going to put on 5 or 6 kilos during a playing season. So if you come in underweight at the start of the season, your season's pretty much gone for a player like Blocker. So, you know, like it's so hard. Like a lot of these players, they've got diet, they've got training, they've got external factors, they've got sickness, they've got all this stuff they've got to deal with in the preseason coming in. So if they're underweight or they're carrying an injury, it's almost the season gone for them. So all these people writing him off, saying he's fat and unfit and all this sort of stuff, like you've got no idea. You really don't, you know. But anyway, yeah. That's my rant about Blocker. I think Blocker's brilliant for the club. He bleeds red and white. He's an absolute clubman. He's brilliant with the fans. He does a shit ton of work, and anybody writing him off, go and give yourself an uppercut because you have no idea about football.
Looking right at you, Liam.
Yeah.
I'm all about
Paying attention to that.
I think people look at Blocker and that they see his sort of natural body shape and they go, well, he's fat and he's unfit. But he's never once in his entire career has he failed a skin fold test. Guys like Jaden Sewer fail it just about every year. Blake Laurie comes in, he passes the skinnies with flying colours every single year. Last week he played 70 minutes in the middle of the field and came off and wouldn't have blown out a candle in reserve grade. Now, I know that's a lower level, but it's 70 minutes in the middle of the park.
That's
like
a
he got
massive
through a
work.
mountain of work. He made like 15 more tackles than the bloke that made the second most tackles for the team. Like, he is not unfit. It is absolute horseshit for people to say that he's unfit. It's just not true. He's been one of the fittest blokes in the club. Like, everyone talks about Gutho winning that 5K run up the hill. Blocker was like 4th or 5th. Of all the Dragons players, if everyone in our top 30, of all the young fucking 21-year-olds that are running up that hill, Blocker beat most of them up the hill. There was only a couple of guys that were fitter than him in that 5K run. Like, he's not unfit. It's just not true.
Yeah. But that's the thing that coaches look at. You know, everyone puts shit on Flanagan for keeping on picking Blocker, but Blocker puts in so much work, and to a coach, that means a lot. You know what I mean? Like, and what real do we have a lot of form forwards that are gonna really get it over Blocker? Like, is Gula that much better? Is Clemmer really that much better? Like Couchman, yeah, Couchman does a shitload of work too. But like you said, Donnie, he's not too dissimilar to Blocker himself. He's probably a little bit bigger and a little bit fitter, but not by a lot. You know, like Couchman's doing 60, 70 minutes, and yeah, Blocker's not really that far behind him. Like, I don't know why people keep writing Blocker off. You know, if he was really that shit, Flanagan wouldn't be picking him. He would have been dropped. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was dropped. He went back to reserve grade and was the man of the match. Like, he was the best player in the reserve grade team the week that he went back there. But everyone will say, oh, but we lost that game. That's the only game that we've lost, and that was Blocker's fault. Like, he played 70 minutes in the middle of the field. He's only one guy. Like, it's just haters going to hate, you know?
Yeah, I know. That's the problem.
Liam, just to prove that I was right that Jesse is not our David Middleton, he has put this up. He says, I don't know the exact percentages, so definitely not David Middleton, but have heard on the ABC that Gutho is the worst in the NRL with challenges. So definitely not David Middleton there, Scoop.
That's kind of all right. I was kind of close. He's still not the best at captain's challenges, though.
No, he's definitely not. He's one of the worst in the NRL. And, maybe something that Flano... Another thing that Flano needs to look at. The Eels' first try, Benny. Sully actually read it quite well, but misses the tackle on Iongi. I see a lot of fans suggesting that Sully should be dropped. Was this a forgivable moment? Were there other lapses? What were your overall thoughts on Sully's game?
Yeah, Sully's been off this season for me. I don't know what it is. Both Sully and Sua are really underperforming in my eyes. You know, you look at their form 2-3 years ago, like polar opposites from what we're getting at the moment. Like, yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know whether he's uncomfortable or not fit or carrying an injury, but he's not firing at all. Not in comparison to what we know he can do. You know, he used to be a player that could break a game open, you know, and put massive shots on, bust the line, you know, score tries. He's just not doing it. I don't know what's going on with him. So, yeah, I don't know whether it's because he doesn't have confidence in the people inside and outside of him, but yeah, the problem with Sully is he second guesses himself for even a split second, and he just doesn't have the lateral movement or the speed to adapt quick enough. So yeah, I think that's a lot of the problem with Sully at the moment. So whether he's unfit or he's carrying an injury, something's not right with him.
Yeah, we've got Frank in the comments there. Problem isn't our attack, it's our defence. You can't have Sully and Sloan together. And then suggest dropping Sloan and conceding too many metres. So a few other thoughts he's chucked in there as well. But yeah, I think you touched on a pretty pertinent point there, Benny, with regards to Sully. It's not just his defence. Like we know defence is not his strength. I don't think we're getting enough out of him on attack. He's not the tackle buster that he once was. I think he had maybe 2 tackle breaks in that game. He's a guy that should be in double figures when it comes to tackle busts, and he's not doing that. Doesn't seem like the same Sully he once was. He comes in, takes hit ups and gets tackled, makes okay meters. His stats look okay, but he's not breaking the line. He's not breaking tackles.
He's not. Even that, I don't know, I can't remember the name of the winger that was on his side, but every time Sully ran, that winger was just running up and jamming him and just shutting him down before he even could do anything at all. And he almost looked easy to tackle. So that's why I don't understand if he's coming under strength or a bit overweight or he's just not fit, but he's not performing like we know he can. Something's not right.
Yeah. Yep, all right. Where are we up to? Okay, so I might bring this one up. So we're going to do a little bit of analysis on the Christian Tuapolotu try. So just got some still shots. So this is the setup right from the beginning You can see the Dragons here sort of fans right across the entire field. And what I want you to sort of pick up on here is how the distance there is between where Damien Cook is right over on the extreme right-hand side and our first receiver. There is no Dragons player in between Damien Cook and Lachlan Ilias. It's a wide pass. And you can see what happens with this perfect pass from Damien Cook. Throws that pass, and there are 7 Eels. Seven Eels players that are between. Lachlan Ilias is outside 7 Eels players. There's only 3 Dragons players, which means that there has to be space out wider. So the way that this is set up, it's set up right from this first pass from Damien Cook. It's an absolute beauty. And the width of Lockie Ilias is another thing that's, people saying he didn't do anything. This might be a minor thing, but it's where you position yourself on the field. This is pretty good play. While he doesn't have a big influence from this point forward. And what that leads to is you can see a massive overlap that the Dragons then create. Like, you'd have to work hard to screw it up from here. Again, we've got 6 players to their 3. It's a 6-on-3. You almost cannot not score from this situation. And we've also got a number of options that come from this shape. We have Luciano Leilua that drops off on the inside to try and catch out any lazy Eels defenders. There aren't any. They get across and they close down that space, so they don't go with that option. We've got Valentine Holmes that is running the unders line, looking to go between Penasini and Zach Lomax. That holds up Penasini momentarily. And we've got the double fullback option. Tyrell Sloan coming from the other side of the field to get involved in this attacking shape. And we've got 2 fullback options for Kyle Flanagan to choose from. We might have made this an easier try if he went to Sloan, but decided to go with Clint Gutherson. Now, the Eels actually defended this play really well. So if we go to the next slide, Penasini slides off Holmes pretty nicely. He gets across, gets that pressure on Clint Gutherson. And you see Zach Lomax, he's actually in a pretty good position to have a decent shot at Christian Tuipulotu. It really was, a good bit of play. Tuipulotu's got enough space between him and the sideline that Lomax can't use the sideline as an extra defender, and he's too big and strong, carries Lomax over the try line. But it was pretty well handled by the Eels, but some great lead-up work from the Dragons. What were your thoughts on this try, Hasman?
Well, probably made it a little bit harder than it really should have been, to be honest with you. A few of the points that you just raised, would have preferred Tuipulotu to just turn around and, whack Lomax across the head or something. But, because he's Dragons player, he already got probably 6 years for that. The problem that we've got is so many of our tries are scored out wide that, unless you've got an absolute sharpshooter, as we've already seen this year, you can score more tries and the opposition and still lose.
Well, to be fair, Val Holmes kicked 5 from 5 in this game. He's a bit of a sharpshooter, and he kicks this one from the sideline.
I was more sort of referring to the South game, but
I
he didn't have his best first couple of games, did he? But he's not going to do that, all year. So, but we need to score close to the post. It's that simple.
Yeah. Again, I don't think goal kicking is really the issue. I think Val Holmes had a couple of average games where he struggled a bit, but he's an 85% kicker. He's one of the best goal kickers in the competition. I think people get caught up on the fact that he had one bad day and it cost us a game, and they think that that's going to be the new norm. I don't think it is. He barely missed one in the trials. He wasn't that good in round 1. He was awful in round 2, but he kicked 5 from 5, including this one from the touchline. Never looked like missing, and I don't think goal kicking is a big issue for us. But In any case, we've gone through pretty much most of the moments that I want to go through, and there are a few moments in that last half an hour of the game that I do want to address. But I think what most Dragons fans want an answer to, the main question that everybody has, is in that last half an hour, what went wrong? And I might go to everyone on this question to get your thoughts in terms of what was it that went wrong for the Dragons? What did we do wrong in that last half an hour? I'll start with you, Liam.
Just the lack in consistency of the ball from against the Parramatta Eels, and yeah, there's not really too much to say because I'm still scarred after yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, Benny, you got any thoughts in terms of what the Dragons did wrong in that last half hour?
Yeah, mate. No one stood up. No one stood up and took control of the game. No one stood up and iced the game. If Flanagan's gone and bought all this experience, where is it? You know what I mean? Who's standing up and taking control and, you know, working to a field position, setting up plays, icing a field goal, you know, but it wasn't the last half an hour. Like when we were at 20 to 8, we should have nailed that game. We should have put the foot down.
Yeah, so that was with half an hour to go. We led 20 to 8. Yeah,
it's just this is the whole problem. Like we can't defend a lead. We're not strong enough defensively to defend a lead. Like I think everyone is getting a misconception, you know, that we've got this super solid defense. Like we've got strong line defense, but they shouldn't be in a position to keep attacking our line, you know, set after set after set after set. Every team's going to get tired when you're doing that much defending close to your line. So we need to be icing games earlier. We can't leave it to the last 10 minutes. We can't leave it to a field goal. And this is the problem. Like Gutho's trying hard, but he's not standing up in the moments that he needs to stand up and take control of the game. Our halves are not experienced enough to stand up and ice a game. Like as much as I don't like Hunt, he probably would have iced the South game and he would have iced that game yesterday. Cook's been brought on for his leadership, but where's he creating those moments? Like when Little comes on, you know what I mean? Like 20 minutes to go, Little comes on, he scoots out a dummy half, 9 times out of 10, he's scoring a try, gets us on the front foot, gets us momentum back. You know, Cook's not doing that. So should Little be coming on earlier? So, you know what I mean? Like Sloan was off. You know, Sloan did nothing. Like Sloan's biggest asset is his attack, but I don't see him coming in through the middle. I don't see him running off guys like DeBellin or trying to run off the forwards for second phase play. In attack, he doesn't need to be on the sideline, especially outside Sully. He's not going to get any fucking ball anyway. So why is he not coming into the middle? Even if he's running off Gutho or running off Sua or like get away from Sully. You know, Sully's never going to pass you the ball. So get in, take some scoots, do some work. You know, like we're not utilizing our strengths in attack. Everyone's saying we've got great attack, but we don't because we're not icing games. We're not icing games in the crucial parts where we need to get in front and just put the foot down and drive that last nail in and hammer it. But we're not doing it. And for all the experience we've brought, who's standing up? Who's taking control? Because no one is. And that's why we're losing these tight games.
Yeah, I also want to add another thing about Moses Sully. He's a ball hog. He keeps hogging the ball and not passing it out to Tyrell Sloan even when we have a chance.
Well,
like an open gap on the try line.
That's not new, though, is it, Liam? I mean, Moses Sully has never had a strong passing game. If you want the winger to get the ball, you don't pass it to Sully. You cut Sully out and you go straight to the winger. So that's the only way he gets the ball. Sully's not a passer. And most centres aren't. Like, I think people have this idea in their head that centres set up their wingers. It doesn't happen very often. When the wingers score, it's usually because it's a face ball across the face of the centre. If you're passing to the centre, you want the centre to score the try. So our ball players, if they want the ball to go to Sloan, if they use his speed to get on the outside, they need to go straight to him. You can't be going through via Moses Sully and expecting that to work out.
But they're not even kicking
anything. Sorry?
So they're not even kicking for Sloan. We have no attacking kicks at all. I haven't seen a chip and chase. I haven't seen a grubber through. All we are getting is midfield bombs. Firstly, because we're normally in shit field position to have an attacking kick, but even when we're getting close to the line, the halves are just not making the right decisions. They're not playing to our strengths. Like, why are they not kicking for Sloan? Sloan is that quick. You know what I mean? If he knows a kick's coming, he's fast enough and rangy enough to get there before 99% of players. But we're not utilising that. Why not? You know, we're relying on Kristen Tuipulotu to be a barging ram and just run over the top of everyone. Like, you know, we're not kicking for Sully. We're not kicking for our taller players. We're not putting grubbers through for our fast players to run through. Like, we're not contesting. We're not putting pressure on the fullback. So how are we going to score points? And this is what I'm saying. We need somebody to stand up and take control of the game in these moments, and they're not.
Yeah. Got the comment on the screen there from Mohammed Dib going to that point there, Benny. There has to be more variety in the kicking game. We rarely see Flanagan put kicks in general play. Teams know that it's always going to be Ilias. It allows them to get pressure on him. But I think the first part of his comment there, that there needs to be more variety in the kicking game. It's always the same shit. And again, people used to criticise Ben Hunt for always doing the same type of kick. Well, Ben Hunt's not there anymore, and we're still doing exactly the same kicking. So maybe it came from the coach.
Coaching? Yeah. Was it Hunt or was it the coaching?
Exactly.
That's what I'm starting to get to with it.
Yeah. Man, last 30 minutes, you got anything to add to what Benny and Liam have already said?
No, I think they're pretty much covered. I just want to go back to the point, Benny, I think you raised this. So with Lachlan Ilias, and he's basically doing the exact same shit that Ben Hunt did. The only difference I'm seeing between Hunt and Ilias is a few $100,000 a season. His kicking is exactly the fucking same.
Yeah.
Like, midfield bombs haven't bloody worked for us for the last 10 years. Why are we still doing that?
Yeah.
Where's the kicking behind the line? Where's the bloody, just something different?
I'm calling the early cry here, boys. Well, guys, I would not be surprised if the club turns around and says, Lachlan Ilias, you're not working for us. There's the door. We'll look for someone else.
Yeah. There's no indication of that. I think, again, that's your personal opinion. It's not something that you've got information on or that is likely to happen. It's just something that, you've seen what's happened in this game and you decide to line up and sink the boot in. I don't think that there's any indication that that's at all on the cards right now. In terms of my thoughts in that last half an hour, I'll go to a couple of our other panel members that have put comments in. I'll start with Big T's. We played dumb football. We closed up shop. We got to that 20-8 lead, and instead of going, let's keep the foot on the throat. Let's put more pressure on. Let's go for the jugular. Let's win this game by 50. Let's absolutely do a number on the Eels here. We're on top. We're flying. We're going through their middle easy. Let's continue playing football and let's put a big score on them. Instead of doing that, they shut up shop completely. They decide to defend a 12-point lead for half an hour, play conservative football, go back into their shell. And as Jesse points out, we aren't a good enough team to defend that lead. We're not good. We're not a good enough team to shut up shop with half an hour to go and a 12-point lead. We're not the 2010 Dragons. We're just not. The 2010 Dragons used to do that tactic all the time, get a lead and then just defend the shit out of it. This 2025 version of the Dragons is not good enough to do that. We've got to have a different attitude and we've got to go on with it. Now, I think, both those panel members that aren't on tonight, Big T and Jesse, got it 100% right. We closed up shop and we stopped playing footy, and we got our pants pulled down.
It just feels like Coach Flano just gave up on this season already, and wants us to get the spoon.
Yes, I think that's horseshit, Liam. Like, giving up on the season. He hasn't given up on the season. He's trying to defend the lead. Like we get that 12-point lead. It's not giving up to try and defend a lead. Like, he's still trying to win the game. He just he doesn't care if we win by 1 point or win by 50. But
it's absolutely not working, Donnie. It's
Yeah, but I
absolutely
don't-
not
Yeah,
working.
but that's not giving up on the. That's not giving up on the season, though, is it, Liam? If he was giving up on the season, he would have Locko Tonga in the side. He would have Finau Latu in the side. We would just have a team full of all
Experiment.
kids, and he'd be throwing caution to the wind. The fact that he's leaving some of these experienced guys out there suggests that he still wants to win games in this season. He still thinks for a chance of going deep into finals, and I think the exact opposite of what you just said. There's no way in the world that he's given up on this season just because we've lost a game to Parramatta.
I don't think it's coaching, to be honest. I think it's complacency within the playing group. You know, like they're not putting the foot down. Like, how did they get 12 points in front? By playing experimental football, by throwing the ball around, by trying to create opportunities. But then we get in front and they pull back. They go back to, you know, just simple hit ups and, you know, midfield bombs. Like, I don't think it's coaching. I think it's the players. I think it's the leadership playing group saying, you know, righto, let's take it easy now, boys. Let's defend the lead. I don't see Flanagan as that sort of coach. Like, Flanagan's pretty brutal. Like, if he has a chance to go for the jugular, he's going to go for the jugular. Like, that's the kind of coach and the kind of guy he is. So I don't think it's that. I think it's the playing group themselves out there. They're just either getting lazy or they're getting overconfident or getting complacent. And before they know it, the opposition's up their asses and chasing them down and taking a lead and winning games. So I think it's the actual playing group out there. They're just, like I said, they're either getting lazy or complacent, and they just, like, we can't defend a lead. We got to score more points. Like, we got to 12 points by scoring fucking points. Why stop doing that?
We've got some winners of the raffle in the comments. Ellie Back blames the board of directors, and Matt Hasler blames Ben Harron. So that's yep, yeah, sure. Come on, all right. Liam, we've got a bit of a rules-based question now, so I suppose our tradition is that we do throw those to you, Liam, despite the fact your understanding of the rules appears rudimentary at best. But the penalty that put us in front with the goal line dropout going out on the full. What were your thoughts on this ruling, and can you explain how Sutton came to this conclusion?
So, Donnie, I'll explain what the rule is first. So, I'm going up here because I just searched it. So, the goal line dropout occurs when the defending player last touches the ball before it goes over the dead ball line or into touch. If the defending player accidentally infringes the
Well, I think we know when a goal line dropout occurs, but with the short goal line dropout, why was that deemed a penalty instead of the play?
Because they didn't go to 10.
It went 20.
It went to 10.
Yeah, I'm baffled about that because the penalty only occurs when it goes short of the 10. So I don't know what the hell the referee was thinking.
It went to 10, but it went out on the full. So why was it a penalty? Because it went out on the full.
So if it goes down on the full, it's also a penalty as well. I forgot to mention that. It goes down on the full.
This is my issue with your understanding of some of the rules, because the new rule came in 2 years ago that it can go out on the full if they're trying for a short dropout and it goes out on the full. It's not a penalty; it's a play the ball. So that's the rule. The ruling that Sutton came up with was saying that it wasn't a contestable kick, which, yeah, I think that's absolute shit. Because if a player goes for the short dropout and it goes 1 meter forward, so that's not contestable. But he's trying to make it contestable. He's just fucked it up. So they make it play the ball. But exactly the same thing happened there in that one with Hawkins. He was trying to make that a contestable dropout. He was trying to go for a short dropout that Lomax could come through and compete for it and try and get the ball back. It went out on the floor. He stuffed it up. Exactly the same as 90% of these ones. And they say, that's just to play the ball. So I think the Eels were dudded there, and ultimately maybe we were dudded because we took the 2 points. If we hadn't got to play the ball and 10 metres out, maybe we score a try and go on to win the game. But I don't agree with the ruling that Sutton came up with there.
Yeah, I don't like it either, Donny. I'm baffled as well, like the rest of you guys are. The referee just completely fucked it up.
Yeah, well,
I sort of-
there
I
was
There's not really much something.
I understand the reasoning behind it, and it's more about the spirit of the game thing. Like I think it's like how I can't remember who got penalised for saying that a player was offside when he wasn't. Like I can't remember who it was. It was in another game. It wasn't one of ours. But I think it's this whole spirit of the game thing. Because if you got 30 seconds to go, and you're leading by 2 points or whatever, and you just blatantly kick the ball out on the field to waste time, you can get penalised for that, as it's not in the spirit of the game. You should give the opposition not every chance, but you should make it fair. So I think that was the ruling behind it, that he kicked it out on purpose to waste time or whatever it was. So I think that was the reasoning behind it. So it must be something the referees are cracking down on at the moment, this whole spirit of the game thing. That's the only reasoning that I can find behind it. So, yeah, by the rule book,
It's ruining game winning.
But I don't think it was really warranted. I think he just miskicked it. So,
yeah, well, John Muller says that the kick was way out. Nobody had a chance of contesting. It was way out, but there have been 50 of them that have gone way out that nobody had a chance of contesting, and they just call it a play the ball because he's trying to make it contestable and he's just stuffed it up. Every other time, they've rewarded poor execution, which, again, I don't know why the hell you want to reward poor execution, but that's the rule as it stands. And I think it should have been a Dragons play the ball in that.
Does the rule say anything about intent?
I don't think so.
Typically say anything about intent?
I'm not sure, but that's the way it's been interpreted so far, is that if they're intending for it to be a contestable kick, because there's ones that don't go 10 metres at all. Well, they're not contestable, but they're trying to make them go just the 10 metres so they can get it back. But
this is the thing, right? It's all interpretation. This is all how the referee has interpreted it, and he's making a call, right or wrong. You've got to go by it. But how's it any different to a referee just saying, "Oh no, ruck infringement"? For what? 6 again, ruck infringement. 6 again. Like the referee's just making it up. There's no evidence behind any of it. So you know what I mean? This is the thing that pisses me off about the referees and how much control they have over the game. The stuff that might not necessarily be warranted. Like how many repeat sets did Parramatta get on the weekend?
For shitload.
What? What fucking ruck infringement? You know what I mean? Where's the accountability for the referees? They could literally just pull out a 6 again ruck infringement at any time they like for any particular reason. They don't have to justify it. They don't have to prove it. And teams can get a roll on, and I'm not saying that necessarily happened in our game, but you see it so many times. And if
you listen to the comms of the referee, though, you do get an indication as to what it is that they're looking for. So, they'll say ruck infringement, hand on the ball, or ruck infringement slow. So they'll add additional things to the ruck infringement call on the run as they're doing it. So they are justifying it to their coach. So it's the referee's coach that will review that and say, well, there wasn't a hand on the ball. So why are you giving a ruck infringement penalty hand on the ball when that didn't happen? So it's up to the referee's coach to then hold the referee accountable. And that is happening behind closed doors. We just don't get to see that.
But it's still totally at the discretion of a referee. You know what I mean?
Well, everything's at the discretion of the referee, though, isn't it? It has been since 1908.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, as long as they're accountable and can justify the calls they make, then fair enough. And I think that call was justified. With no intention, uncontestable kick. I think that was justified in his eyes, and as I said, it hasn't any different to the 6 again ruck infringement calls.
I think it's close. I think if it goes 30 or 40 metres and goes out on the full, it's definitely not a contestable kick. But it went 20. He had a lot of height on it. I think he was clearly trying to put it up for Lomax to chase through to a point where there's going to be less dragons. There's going to be a lot of dragons on that 10-meter line. But if you get it back 20 and get Lomax through the traffic there, it's going to be a one-on-one contest. So I think that's exactly what he was trying to do. I think it was the wrong call. It was poorly executed, and I think that by the way the rule is interpreted, that it should have been a play the ball, and I think he got it wrong. But I think it was very poorly executed because it went out on the full by miles. So again, maybe you don't want to reward him when he executes it that poorly. Another rules-based question, and Hasman's kind of already touched on this, but I might go to you for this one, Benny. Tyrell Sloan scores in the corner, which would have given Holmes a chance to wrap up the game from the sideline, but ruled to have simultaneously hit the sideline and grounded at the same time. Did the bunker get this ruling correct, or did they screw us?
Mate, that's a hard one. I guess it's by the rules of the game. He was out. Like it's. Yeah, you're talking a bee's dick, or a blade of grass, and if they award it, the Parramatta fans are blowing up. If they don't award it, we're blowing up. It is what it is, mate. Like, it just goes to show in the modern game, if you're going to score a try, fucking make sure of it. Simple as that, Yeah. Anyway, we didn't get the right we didn't get the right call. Not that we didn't get the right call, but it didn't go our way in that particular instance, and that's footy. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, and I think this is one where a lot of fans don't know the rule. Jesse saying that it should have been benefit of the doubt decision to the try scorer.
Bloody thing anymore, Jesse, you idiot.
Yeah, I agree.
Tony saying it was simultaneous. The rule is that when it's sideline and try line simultaneous, the rule is he's out. So the referee got the call correct. Unfortunately, it was simultaneous, and that one gets taken off as it was the correct call, but it goes against us. All right. Well, I might stay on Tyrell Sloan, Hasman, because he is another one that's copping it left, right, and centre from fans with 3 errors in the match, as well as not being able to finish and ice that try. Is the criticism warranted? Should we be looking for an actual winger in our squad, or would you be persisting with Sloan?
Look, I've got a couple of different ideas on this. So part of me wants to sort of, keep going with him, so sort of see what happens. But part of me wants to stick him at fullback, which is his natural position, put Gutherson in at 5'8", and fucking get rid of Flanagan, which will never happen. It'll never happen while this old man's coach. I can tell you that right now. The only way we're having a different 5'8" is if Flanagan gets injured or suspended. He's not getting dropped. But look, if we can't put him at fullback, absolutely leave him on the wing. He's the only speed that we've got. We have absolutely no speed outside of him whatsoever. We need him.
But if you replace him with somebody like Dione Finau, who's I would say almost as quick as Sloan, if not quicker. I don't know how they go.
He's not as quick as Sloan. No way.
You don't reckon?
I don't think he is.
I don't reckon there'd be too
much.
He's
quick, but he's not on Sloan's level.
Yeah, I think doesn't actual winger finish that try?
Sloan isn't actually that fast, to be honest. He's not that fast. He's rangy and tall and can break a line. But the problem is with Sloan is we're not utilising him. Firstly, we've got him playing out of position, which is and secondly, we've got him outside of Sully. Like I said earlier, like Sloan, we need to play to his strengths. If he's going to be in the side, we need to utilise him to the utmost best of our ability, and we're not. And that's why he's getting caught out. He's getting caught out defensively. He's getting caught out in attack because we're not utilising him. We're not using him for what he's good at. And this is the whole thing. We know that he's a defensive liability. I don't know. I honestly thought Sloan was going to have a cracker season this year, and he should be playing better than he is. But I think the reason that he's not playing as good as he is because we're not using him right.
Yeah.
But if we're not going to
Right,
use him right, he shouldn't be on the field. He should go back to Reggie's. If we're not going to utilise him, put someone else in there because he is too much of a liability. I love Sloan, and I think he's brilliant and he's got all the potential in the world. But if he's not going to fire and we're not going to use him right, then he shouldn't be on the field because he is a liability.
Yeah, I think we've sort of tried a couple of times. We saw in that analysis the Tuipulotu try where he was in there as that second fullback, but the halves aren't going to him. They're not actually utilising him when he goes across and he makes that effort to be in those positions. They're still not giving him that opportunity to show what he can do in that sort of situation. Yeah, he's done. I've seen him there a few times, but he never gets the ball. So what's the bloody point?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, a huge moment where Jack de Belin was penalised for a crusher tackle, Liam, to allow the Eels to level the score. Are you surprised de Belin has escaped the wrath of the match review committee for this moment?
Well, I say yes. He's lucky to escape from the crusher tackle. There was like really nothing in it. I don't know why the Parramatta Eels was blown up about it.
Yeah,
There was really nothing in it.
I think it was kind of minor, but I think that's a penalty every day of the week. Unfortunately, there was pressure on the back of the head. It was minimal. I was worried that he might get suspended because it's Jack de Belin and they love to rub Jack out every chance they get. So I was surprised that he didn't get charged for it, but it was pretty minimal. The pressure. The pressure. It wouldn't have bruised a great, but that's the game that we've got at the moment, where that sort of thing is a penalty and can help decide a match. Huge moment. Another big moment, Benny. We've heard Hasman and Liam sort of give their thoughts on Lachlan Ilias. Golden point extra time. Shanks one out on the full, causing the Dragons fans to call for his head, demand he dropped to reserve grade for the remainder of his contract. Do you feel like he cost us that game and isn't up to an overall standard, or is his mistake down to other factors? And would you forgive him at all for that?
I think he was a factor of us losing that game, but I don't think it was that particular incident. Like I said, at 20-8, that's when the halves should have stood up and nailed that game. Not with, a minute to go or in golden point. But yeah, I think Elias is copping a bad rap. He's not, playing absolutely out of his skin, but he has improved a lot since the first game. He's getting better. His defense has been on point for most part. He's doing a lot of work defensively. I still think him and Flanagan are not comfortable. They're not working together. I think there's some issues with the hookers and the halves that need to be ironed out. Gutho and the halves need to be ironed out. It's just going to take time, Like it or not, we're stuck with Ilias for the rest of the season unless there's an injury or a suspension. So everyone needs to get off his back and start supporting the bloke and getting around him. And he's not actually that bad of a half, He's got all the skills. Like he's got a good short kicking game. He's got a good chip and chase. He can bomb. He can kick for field position. But I think a lot of what he's doing is he's trying to lock into Flanagan's game plan, which isn't really his natural brand of footy. I think this is a big part of why he's not performing. I think Flanagan, Kyle's the same. Like Kyle's not playing his natural game of footy either. He's trying to stick to Shane's game plan, and I don't think Shane's game plan works for either of our halves, to be honest. And we need to just play a natural brand of footy, and neither of the halves are doing it. Like our guys out wide are playing their natural brand of footy and our hookers are playing their natural brand of footy, but our halves seem to be so constricted for some reason. I don't know why. So, obviously the shank out on the full was unfortunate, but, where's Val Holmes standing up in that moment? Where's Gutho standing up in that moment? Where's, anybody else that could have done anything in that moment?
You're looking for someone. How about finding a dummy half? Like that's the reason why he shanked it out on the full. There was no one at dummy half.
Yeah.
The Jacob Little got tackled with the ball. plays the ball. There's no one there. They have to dive in there, throw a speculator out to Ilias. That means he's under all sorts of pressure, and that's why he kicks it out on the full, because there was no one at dummy half. That's not Lachlan Ilias's fault.
No, exactly
Like,
right.
there are so many other players around. There's so much experience in the side, as Benny points out, and everyone wants to tear Lachlan Ilias's heart out because he puts it out on the full. Like, there's no one that feels worse than Lachlan Ilias, but there was no one at dummy half for that play, in that situation, in that moment when we needed it. There was no one there. And that's why he was under pressure, and that's why he puts it out on the full. I think the comments around Ilias have been horrible. I don't think he had some good moments. He got us a repeat set late in the game that again gave us the penalty to put us in front. Like, he was the one that got the goal line dropout. Steps off the left, dribbles one in behind, gets the repeat set. We get the penalty on the back of that from the kick out on the full. We go up by 2, but no one remembers that moment. They remember the moment where he kicks it out on the full, which wasn't even his fault. It was the fact that we didn't have a dummy half. Like, I think everybody wants him hung, drawn, and quartered, and I think it's a bit much.
Yeah, I think the Dragons fans really need to start taking a look at themselves. You know, like everyone just jumps on the bandwagon and just slags off players like Blocker, and at the moment it's Ilias and, you know, Sloan. Like, everyone, they just jump on the bandwagon and just start ragging on these players. You know, like, they wouldn't be in first grade if they weren't decent players. Ilias wouldn't be playing first grade if he wasn't a decent half. You know, I think we've got to start supporting these blokes and you know, getting behind them. You know, like, why are they going to want to perform if the fucking fans are just ripping the shit out of them every time they make a mistake? Like, especially considering half the people putting shit on them and probably never played a game of footy in their fucking lives and wouldn't last 2 minutes playing first grade footy. The thing that pisses me off, but anyway. Yeah, keep going, Ilias. You're doing good, mate. I'm behind you. So, yeah, you go out and play your best game, mate. That's all you can do. That's all you can ask for. Good on you.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest Ilias fan. I wouldn't have had him in the side.
Come on, mate. But he's the best that we've got at the moment. So, like, get behind him and yeah.
I think the point from Gary McGregor is a good one. It takes 4 to 6 weeks for halves to gel. I've sort of said 6 to 8. Like, it takes time for new combinations to form. We've got a lot of new combinations in this side that are trying to find their way. And, you know, this was a misstep certainly against the Eels. They looked all right the week before against Melbourne. There wasn't too many people complaining then. About the halves, were they? But we lose by 1 point to Parramatta, and all of a sudden, you know, it's throw the baby out with the bathwater, start again. Right?
I'd love to see LKT get a crack, but he's a totally different style half than what Ilias is. So obviously that's not what Flanagan's looking for, and this is what everyone needs to remember. Like, the coach is picking the sides, and it doesn't matter how much you jump up and down and carry on saying Ilias is that and Blocker's this, and like, Flanagan's picking the best 17 players that he thinks are there to go out and do the job that he wants them to do. So obviously he's got faith in the halves to go out and do what he wants them to do. So we've just got to start getting behind these guys. Like, I don't know, it just pisses me off. Our fans are some of the worst in the game, I swear to God. Just a bunch of whinging freaks.
Well, I was going to say, Benny, there's been reports coming out now after the press conference yesterday by Coach Flano saying there might be some changes in the team this coming week.
Oh, how many times have we heard that before?
No, I can't see it, mate. I can't see Flanagan changing too much, you know, like, yeah. I don't know.
We'll just have to wait and see.
The whole team underperformed. Not one or two players. The whole team underperformed. Just like the whole team had an absolute blinder against Melbourne. You know, like, how do you drop a player after the Melbourne game? And how do you drop a player after yesterday's efforts? You know, like, everybody played average football. You know, like, you can't just. There wasn't one player that lost us that game yesterday. You know, and Flanagan knows that. He's not going to make any changes. I don't think he should.
Yeah. We'll get to forced and unforced changes in a minute, Scoop. You've jumped ahead in the agenda a little bit. We've got only a couple of questions to go. We'll start with news and rumours, Hasman. Benny actually brought up the name. We spoke last week, though, about Newcastle having some interest in signing Lycan King Togia. But with Dylan Brown signing with Newcastle, it was mentioned in the New South Wales Cup coverage that the Eels are another club that has expressed interest in the Dragons reserve grade 5'8". Thoughts on this?
I only have one thought on that, and that's that Parramatta should fuck off.
I agree with you,
I want to
Heisman.
see him play for us. I don't want to see him playing for anyone else.
Well, again, like we've got to use him, otherwise he's going to leave. Like quite honestly, if Lycan King Togia isn't a better option than Lachlan Lilius or Kyle Flanagan, then he's going to struggle getting a gig at any other club as well. So the question is he better than those two? And if he is, why isn't he playing first grade right now? So
because his natural position is 5'8", and Flano is not going to drop his son for anyone. He wouldn't drop his son for Jesus Christ.
And therein lies the problem. We're never winning a comp with Kyle Flanagan at 5'8". No club is winning a comp with Kyle Flanagan at 5'8". So
no. And the only person on the planet
if what you said is true, then Shane Flanagan should be sacked tomorrow.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Everyone's putting shit on Ilias. Why is no one having a crack at Kyle? Kyle's the one under.
There's people having a crack at Flanagan. Don't worry about that, Benny.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Kyle's the one that's underperforming. Ilias is going out and doing his job. Like, yeah, he's not setting the world on fire, but Flanagan he's not delivering anything at all. He's got no kicking game. He's poor defensively. He's not attacking. Like he scored a couple of fluke tries where he busted through the line, but anybody could have scored those tries. If anyone's underperforming in the halves, it's Flanagan, not Ilias.
I mean, people were defending Flanagan last year, saying, "Oh, Hunt's buddy holding him back." Well, in the games that we've seen this year, what's their excuse for him this year? He's
exactly.
He doesn't have width there, and he's done absolutely fuck all anyway.
That argument always made me laugh. That Ben Hunt was somehow holding Kyle Flanagan back.
They play on different sides of the fucking field.
But Kyle Flanagan's played 100 games. He's played 20 for the Dragons. What about his other 80? Who was holding him back then? Ben Hunt wasn't there. Exactly. It was always horseshit, that argument. That Dragons fans said that Ben Hunt was holding him back and he was going to be somehow magically a great player with a state of origin, international quality player gone. Just, I don't know, ludicrous. All right, forced and unforced changes. Liam, you sort of mentioned that there might be some changes, so let's dig down and see which ones we think there might be. And no suspensions and no known injuries, so there's no forced changes that I know of at this stage. Certainly some calls for changes to the side after losing to the last place Eels. We've talked about Sully and Sloan already. And I don't think many on the panel think that they're going to be dropped. So let's talk about two others mentioned by fans in the wake of the loss. We'll start with Luciano Leilua for you, Liam. I'm not sure if I can pinpoint a moment or a stat that is leading to Luch copying it from fans, but an edge forward, only played 49 minutes, had just 7 runs, made 19 tackles. Is his position in the team tenuous?
Yeah, I didn't really see much of Luciano Leilua yesterday, Donny. I was watching the whole game and I saw nothing from him.
Fuck me.
I don't think he
fucking played brilliant when he was on the field.
Yeah, I didn't really see much from Luciano. Like, I just don't know, but I did hear there was going to be some changes in the forwards, but I don't know what players Flano's singling at dropping for this week.
Yeah,
but there might be some changes in the spine. There might be some changes.
What Flano's going to do. We don't have any control over Flano. This is a fan-based podcast. This is all about what your opinion is. So who gives a fuck what Flano's going to do? What would you do?
Me, I would drop Blake Laurie and Brenny Loco Pacifica Tonga for his debut, blood him, against the Titans. And I just want to give, like in Kentucky, a crack and maybe move locking Elias to the bench and take some of the pressure off him and take Little to look at and Cookie, I don't know, move him somewhere else in the team. But otherwise, I don't know what's going to happen.
Oh, fuck, I'm glad you're not coaching. Fuck me.
Oh,
Oh, you're hard. You really are hard.
Danny,
Luciano.
I'll go to you on Luciano because I know you gave him gave him the one point in the 3-2-1. So you obviously don't agree with that with some of the fans that are calling for him to be dropped.
No, I think Luciano had a blinder while he was on the field. Like, he no real bad defensive misses. He was putting shots on. He was running hard. I think he played better than fucking Sully and Sewer combined. He made some brilliant tackles. Like, he was just shutting them down, and he was in everything in that first sort of 40, 50 minutes. So I think he played really, really well. He's played a lot better than he has the last few weeks. He really stood up in that game. I don't know what it was, but he just seemed to be in everything. He was just having a real red-hot crack, and I love seeing players do that. So I think he was standing up at a lot of time that other players weren't. So
For me, there was something we talked about earlier. We talked about offloads, and one guy that I always remember having a great offloading game is Luciano Leilua. He just doesn't seem to do that anymore. Like, where has that gone? Has that been coached out of him?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's hard to tell. Either that or he has no confidence in the wingers outside him, But in saying that too, like, Lucha's a bit like Lomax. When his passes work, they're brilliant. When they don't, everyone just rips shit out of him. So, like the old classic Lomax flick pass, when it worked, it was brilliant. When it didn't, he was the worst prick in the world. So I think Luciano, a lot of his offloads are like that. Luciano can get a bit excited and throw things that aren't necessarily there. I think maybe Flanagan has said, look, just rein it back a little bit, just do your work, make your meters, which seems to be the theme for the whole team, to be honest. Like, I think Flanagan's very much right. Just go out, just make your meters, make your tackles, don't try anything too expansive, leave the expansive stuff to the Gutho and, whatever. But yeah, I think that seems to be a bit of a theme because even Sully, Sewer, they're not playing their natural brand of footy either. It's like our outside sort of their second rowers and centers, they're not as expansive as what they should be or could be, or what they are, like you in comparison to the last few years, like you said, that offload's gone from Luciano. Sewer's the same, Sully's the same, so I don't know whether it's coaching or not, but I think Luciano played really well yesterday.
Yeah.
Going to hear Hasman's thoughts.
Well, we're going to move on from Luke. The other obvious, probably more obvious one, is Blake Laurie. Again in the team, it's unclear what impact he was expected to have on the contest in 19 minutes. I'll give my 2 cents worth after I let you answer, Hasman. But do you think Laurie should remain in the side? And if so, is the role that he's been given by Flano a role that suits him?
I was hoping you do. I thought you might give me this one. Look, Blake Laurie's got a lot of doubters. I was one of them. I gave him a lot of shit last year, but I'll stop that now. I absolutely want him there. But as I said earlier, he's not being used correctly. 19 minutes, it doesn't matter who you have; they're not going to do much. He needs to get more game time. It's pretty much as simple as that. As to his role, well, he's not on the field long enough for me to figure out what his role is.
Yeah. No,
so I definitely want him there, but I want him there for longer.
Me, I don't.
For me, I'm going to shock a lot of people and agree with Scoot on this. I think if you're using blocker for 20 minutes or less, what is the point? Like, he is not an impact player. He's not a guy that's going to come on and impact the contest in 20 minutes. He's a guy that works his freaking ass off. He is a high volume kind of player. He's a guy that will have a lot of carries. He'll run a lot of decoys. He'll make a lot of tackles in whatever time you give him out on the field. But in 20 minutes, I just can't see what impact he's going to have on the contest. And I think a guy like Locko Tonga, given that sort of 20 minutes, he's a guy that can come on in 20 minutes and actually have some sort of impact. He can bend the line. He can have like, 5 or 6 carries in that 20-minute time frame and make 70 or 80 meters and bend the back of the defensive line. He's, again, good defensively. He'll make his tackles. He'll do his job. But I think he's the kind of guy with his size in that short space of time is likely to fill that role better than what Blake Laurie can. If the 20-minute role is what Shane Flanagan is looking for from Blake Laurie, I think he's looking at the wrong bloke. I think Laurie is a guy that is going to be perfect to come in if something happens to God forbid, something happens to a Toby Couchman or a Jack DeBellin. I think that's the role that Blake Laurie can come in and then fill for the side. But this 20-minute off the bench role, I don't think that's the blocker.
No, I'd like to see Latu get a crack at that. He'd be a perfect player for that. That 20-minute role, impact player. He's quick. He's aggressive. He's got that mongrel in him. He can bust the line, create stuff. I'd like to see Ladu get a crack at that sort of role. But like you said, Donnie, that's not blocker. Blocker is a workhorse. He needs that sort of 40 to 60 minutes of just hard work. That's where he's utilised. He's not utilised as an impact player off the bench. It's just not him.
Yeah. Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's about all we've got time for tonight. There is a lot of questions that I wanted to get to in the comments, but I want to try and keep these shows sort of under that hour and a half mark as much as possible, and didn't get a chance to talk about lower grades or any of that sort of stuff. But strap yourselves in, Dragons fans. It's going to be a wild ride for the foreseeable future. I don't see any reason to expect consistency in 2025. Will we win next week? Maybe. Maybe we win by 50. Maybe we grind out a gritty 1-point win at home. Maybe we lose in Golden Point again. Maybe we lose by 50. Nothing should come as a surprise. The opponent doesn't matter. We will either win regardless of how good the opposition is, or we'll lose regardless of how bad the opposition is. That is the Dragons' way. It might be frustrating, but there will be some fun, enjoyable moments along the road. And if we manage to sneak enough wins to make finals, then I know that we can beat absolutely anyone on our day. So if you want to believe in something, believe in that. Come on, Dragons fans.
Coco is at Pell's heart, she wears it on her sleeve. As Mustard tells tales of dragons, wins and tuna victory. Tony and the MV crew will do their very best, hitting off topic and I digress with a red V on our chest. The Mad Dragon podcast is a sheep of camaraderie, navigating rants down rabbit holes in the land of big wet feet. And so our peddlers speak the tales, and our pursuit is our dream. The Mad Dragon Podcast, funded by our team.